The Monster of Canterlot, Chapter 1. I was tired, I was a little scared, I was hurt, and I was pissed. I came to Ponyville I don't really know why I came to Ponyville, but it certainly wasn't to have 5 of the elements of harmony attack me. I ran through the field outside the little town as I was being chased by Rarity, Applejack, Pinky, and Fluttershy. Rainbow Dash was flying overhead and waiting for her next opportunity to dive bomb me. Fluttershy, in her defense, didn't really seem to want to hurt me, but was there just in case I went back for the town. Rarity had tried to use her telekinesis on me, but for some reason, magic only ever affected me if it were cast by some pony extremely powerful. She had resorted to throwing things with her magic instead. Applejack had pelted me with a few apples already, but was now trying to lasso me. Pinky had used her party cannon once already, and made me wish I had fur more than ever, thanks to high-velocity confetti and thousands of paper cuts. "Get the fuck out of our town, you damn monster!" Rainbow Dash yelled as she dove at me with one of her back hooves extended for a near-sonic speed kick. Luckily, my vertical two-legged stance allowed me a great deal of maneuverability. As she dove in, I spun around, dropped one leg back for a pivot point, grabbed her lead hoof, and used her own momentum to spin her around and fling her back up into the air. She tumbled, but would be able to recover before hitting the ground. "I already told you, I'm not a monster!" "That's what all monsters say." Applejack was furious that I had attacked her friend, despite the fact that she was the one who attacked me. She charged at me as fast as she could. Luckily for me, she didn't expect me to sidestep and push her off balance as she ran by. She wouldn't be hurt, but it would take her some time to recover. I would have to thank my cousin for all the special training next time I saw him. Of course, I could hurt these mares, but I really didn't want to. For one thing, it wouldn't help my image as a monster any. Another reason is that these 5 ponies made up almost all of the elements of harmony, and I didn't want my home to be without its greatest defense. Most importantly, they were friends of my cousin. Besides, I only wanted to escape now. I gained nothing by hurting them at this point. Another volley of rots were being thrown at me by Rarity. "You brute! How dare you hurt them!" I caught 2 of the rots, one in each hand, and dodged the others. "I didn't hurt any pony, and I never wanted to!" I threw the rots I caught straight down to the ground. Pinkie Pie, who I'd always heard was random beyond belief, suddenly appeared on my back. "Here, I brought you this!" I'd also heard she was loud, but damn! She dropped a gift box into my hands, but unless it was a clock, it sounded like I didn't want it. I threw the present in a random direction. Unfortunately, that direction led to Fluttershy. Hearing Pinky gasp was enough to tell me I did a bad thing. The boss didn't hit her, thankfully, but I didn't want to take a chance that it was harmless. I ran as fast as my tired legs would let me to get to her. For once today, luck was on my side. Right as I reached the box, I could hear its ticking was a great deal faster than it was when Pinky dropped it on me. I threw it straight up in the air and dropped to cover Fluttershy's body. Turns out my instincts were right. No sooner did I manage to cover her than the box exploded. It showered candy down on me. Normally, this would serve to be only a minor annoyance, but with explosives propelling them, I could feel the blood starting to flow. Perfect. I stood from over Fluttershy and could already tell I had no chance of winning any fight now. I could only watch Rainbow Dash come back for another attempt. There was no way I was going to be able to deflect or redirect her now. Adrenaline was keeping me up, but I was already tired before I was pelted. I could only imagine how much damage I would have taken if I hadn't thrown the bomb away. Dash was living up to her name and flying straight for me at speeds impossible for any other Pegasus I knew. I tried to dodge, but I only managed to fall to the ground, catching a glancing blow as I did. The momentum from Dash's blow caused me to roll on the ground, right into Applejack. She yelled something at me, but I couldn't tell what it was thanks to the pain and disorientation. I could, however, feel the kick. Luckily or unluckily, depending on your view, I didn't feel anything after that. What happened after had to be told to me by my cousin, Twilight Sparkle. She teleported into the field where she had been told her friends had chased a monster out of town. She looked around to get her bearings. The first pony she spotted was Fluttershy, still curled up in fear. Then she saw the other standing over my unconscious, bleeding body. "Do you think it's dead?" Applejack asked. "I don't know. Maybe," Rainbow Dash answered. "No. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no." Twilight galloped over to me. She shouldered past the others. She looked over me, the already obvious horseshoe-shaped welts, the cuts on my face, and the blood on my shirt. Twilight lifted my head to try and look into my eyes, but one was swollen shut and the other was simply closed. No, 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 no. Please, wake up. She gently shook my chest. No, this is so bad. You guys need to get out of here. Now. What are you talking about, Twi? Rainbow asked. It's just some monster. Don't say that word. Her eyes gleamed with anger. Go, right now. If she finds out what you did... Oh, this is so bad. The 5 mares looked at each other in confusion, and Rarity spoke up first. If who finds out, darling? Before Twilight could answer, the skies turned black. Not figuratively black either, genuinely black. Storm clouds raced in out of nowhere and spiraled above them and roared with deafening thunder. It's too late! She's here! Twilight looked despairingly up at the brilliant burst of light. The others followed her view and saw the most furious alicorn they have ever seen. What have you done? The Royal Canterlot voice was not something any pony was used to hearing, and now it was the last thing any pony wanted to hear. When Celestia touched down, the ground trembled beneath her hooves. She trotted over to me as all but Twilight stepped back to give her room. When she saw what had been done, her eyes shone white and tears formed, but were evaporated instantly. Princess, I don't understand, Rarity started. What have you done to him? We chased him out of town, Rainbow began to explain. We thought he was just a monster. If it weren't for Twilight being so quick to raise her shield, they may have had to bury Rainbow Dash in the trench that she undoubtedly would have dug with her own body. Celestia had just tried to strike her. My son is not a monster! Celestia glared with still glowing eyes, daring any pony to say anything else. A moment later, she teleported both of us back to the infirmary in Canterlot. Now, I know some of you may be confused. How could I be Celestia's son if I'm clearly not a pony? Well, that is a short answer and a long story. First, I will tell you who and what I am. My name is Chris Soul, and I am a human from Earth. What is far more interesting question is the how. For the answer, I will have to go back to Earth, where I was born. Now, I'm not going to bore you with things you already know. Obviously, I was born and had a mother and even a father. We all have seen pictures of the Hall of Honor, the throne room, the ballroom, and even the royal dining hall in the castle. Any foal in school or pony capable of reading a newspaper has learned about the elements of harmony and who wield them. I would even go so far as to assume that there have been photos of their homes flying around. Therefore, I will not waste your time describing what those ponies and places look like. I don't have a lot of memories about my time on Earth. After all, I was only 6 when I was taken from my family, and that was 14 years before the events of today. I do remember that I was a happy child. I loved my parents, and they me. We weren't rich by any stretch, but they never let me want or go hungry. Instead, they taught me to enjoy the free things that life had to offer, and, most importantly, humility. Most of my days were spent running in the park and playing soldier with sticks for swords or guns. It was on one of these days in the park that it happened. I was running through the woods, which was nothing more than a few trees with some palmettos growing in between. But to a boy of 6, it was a jungle. I was in the middle of fending off my home from Nazis when a bright light surrounded me. The last thing I heard and saw of Earth was my mother screaming my name and running to save me. Next thing I knew, I was in a clearing filled with flowers and a creek bordered by trees. I could hear birds sing and feel the breeze on my face. I was looking around, trying to figure out just where I was and what happened to my mom. Mommy! I screamed over and over, tears pouring from my eyes. A voice from behind caught my attention. Hello there, little one. I spun around to face the speaker. To my surprise, it was a unicorn with huge wings. It was Celestia, and behind her was a tiny, filly Twilight Sparkle. They were both confused, as was I, but Twilight looked downright scared. For some reason, I wasn't. I can't find my mommy. I told her. My voice kept catching in my throat due to the crying. Celestia cooed and lowered herself to the ground. She wrapped me up in her huge wings, which made me feel so very safe. Calm down, young one. We will help you find her. Guards! Out of nowhere, 10 white Pegasi came to her side. Their golden armor and large frames made me uneasy. I couldn't tie her to Celestia's chest, and she in turn tightened her wings grip on me. Search the woods. Look everywhere for this child's mother. You must find her. Those guards looked for hours, but found nothing, not even a footprint. It had later been determined that I had been brought here by accident. Twilight was being taught magic by Celestia, and her spell got supercharged somehow and took me from Earth's realm to Equestria's. For months, Twilight avoided me. She wasn't afraid of me. She was just afraid I would hate her. I never did. I blamed her for a time, but it was brief and didn't last long enough for hate to form. I did cry myself to sleep for the first year, though, and every night Celestia would come to comfort me. In fact, after the first month, I simply started to sleep in her bed with her wings being used as the best security blanket ever. At first, she had tried a nanny, but I wouldn't calm down with any pony but her. Even Twilight Velvet couldn't help me sleep. She did help Celestia a lot through the years, which is one more reason why I never hated her daughter, and even considered her and her family as my own family. That's why I called Twilight my cousin. What I didn't realize for years was the grief I had caused Celestia. She had decided it was best to keep my existence a secret, except for a few doctors, guards, and maids. Most ponies who met me feared me. It had something to do with the fact that humans are predators. Strange how creatures don't want to spend too much time around creatures that could eat them. Because of my secreted existence, rumors had started to spread that Celestia was sneaking lovers into her room at night. After all, no one was allowed into her chambers at night, and strange noises could be heard coming from inside. With us spending so much time together and her doing so much to protect me, it was only natural that after some time, I would call her Mom. The second the words slipped from my mouth, tears of joy formed in her eyes, and she hugged me tighter than she ever had before. She officially adopted me within the hour. I learned later that she had always wanted a child of her own, but with her official duties, she never had the chance. Worse yet, she never would again. Are alicorns powerful? Yes. Are they immortal? Yes. Are they gods? No, not at all. Alicorns, like all living creatures, have a limited time in which they can breed, and Celestia's had passed centuries ago. She was doomed to never experience the joys of raising a foal like other members of her family had. Those royals that had given up either their wings or the magic to become mortals, leaving only herself, her sister, and eventually her niece, Cadence, as the only alicorns left, and therefore shouldered with an unfair amount of responsibility. Then, suddenly, there was this child from out of the blue and needed protection, shelter, and love. This was her chance, so she took it. Thus, Prince Christopher Soul of Equestria, I became.